Well, around the holiday season every single year, it's one of the busiest times of the year for our friends at the Detroit City Distillery and Bees in the D as they release one of their many specialty products that's released all throughout the year, their honey bourbon, which is coming out in November, no, in just a couple of weeks here in November. Joining us now from Detroit City Distillery is their brand ambassador, Garrett Passiak, as well as the founder of Bees in the D, Brian Peterson, on today's edition of the Megacast. Thank you both for being with us today, live from Detroit City Distillery.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, glad to have you both on. Glad to have both of you back on with us again. We've had you both on several times to talk about your businesses, your organizations, and all the great work that you do all throughout the year. But this is a special time of the year. You know, people love this particular product. They line up for it. They're getting ready for it. They're sitting at their computers the second that it's ready for release, and it sells out quick every year. So let's go back a little while to when this partnership first began between Detroit City Distillery and Bees in the D to create this honey bourbon. And Garrett, let's start with you. How did this partnership from your side of things begin with Brian and his team at Bees in the D?
Well, what we did is a couple years back, we said, you know something, there's a lot of collaboration going on with Bees in the D, with a lot of rooftop beehives and everything like that. And it's fun. We have bourbon, but around the holiday season, you want to go ahead and create something a little bit more special and limited. So that's when we reached out to Bees in the D's, and that's where we met Brian. So
yeah. And by the way, we also have hives right here on the roof over our heads right now at the factory. And that's where it all started. But then we're like, honey and bourbon, what a great mix.
Yeah, it really is a great partnership between two Detroit organizations that are both quite beloved in the city and throughout the Metro Detroit area as well. And that's why you see such a great response from this product. So then, Garrett, from your side of things, we know how we have an idea of how Brian and his team of Bees in the D are able to collect the honey, and of course, that those products are available all throughout the local area from Bees in the D. But how do you then incorporate that into a bourbon, especially once a year, getting ready for this time of the year and its annual release?
So what it is so we have the honey bourbon here. So what we're doing is Brian, Bees in the D, they go ahead and they'll age the honey in a used bourbon barrel. And then once that is extracted and put into this amazing tasting honey here, we then take our original butcher's cut bourbon and we put that into the barrel and age that. So it has a honey finish. So if you're looking for a sweet honey style whiskey, this isn't it. This is a very, very nice, high quality, just honey instant taste at the end of it because it's soaking in a used honey barrel. So that's how we do it.
And so timing, I would imagine
is...
Please go ahead. Sorry about that.
I was going to say, fun things to do with it. You can make, we call the honey old fashioned. Literally, just take 2 ounces of that honey bourbon and put that in a glass. You want a couple dashes of that cinnamon bitters. Little Angostura. Then, of course, Brian's famous honey there. Just a little pour of that. Start with a simple syrup. Add ice. Give that a stir. And boom.
Yeah, it's versatile too. So much that you can do. It's a great gift too for the holiday season, and it goes on sale November 11th. Of course, that's just 9 days away. Next week, it will go on just a little over a week from now. It will go on sale November 11th, DetroitCityDistillery.com/shop for more information. DetroitCityDistillery.com/shop to get that product when it comes out on November 11th. Brian, from your side of things, of course, we know from what Garrett had said that the way that they produce this particular product, this bourbon from Detroit City Distillery, is by soaking the bourbon in the honey barrels that you're then collecting. Then you've, of course, collected honey from hives all across the Metro Detroit area, including in the city of Detroit. And as you said, right up there on the roof at Detroit City Distillery. I would imagine this time of the year, things are maybe a little less busy for those bees than in the warmer seasons of the year. So then how do you then focus on collecting enough to create the specialty product and also to fulfill all the products for the remainder of the year when you get toward the colder seasons of the year and those bees decide, all right, we're going to take a break for a little while?
Yeah, I'm in the final stages of winterizing all of our hives, and that's just giving them a little bit of a supplemental feed. Some of our hives, like the ones on the roof here, I'm going to wrap them to keep them a little bit sheltered from that cold wind. And also doing some mite treatments because unfortunately there's a lot of diseases and parasites that can cause problems. But then, yes, the bees don't hibernate as a lot of people think. They actually form a winter cluster, vibrate, creating heat from friction, and they keep the queen warm all winter long, but live off of their honey stores. But that then gives us, me, I should say, the beekeeper, a rest. But now we're starting to send out all of our honey to the different organizations like Detroit City Distillery that have invested in us so that they can now take that sweet goodness and use it for products like this or in their restaurant, or we'll bottle it up and have it for sale.
So then over the colder months of the year when your bees are in sort of that hibernation state and aren't working to create more honey that's being produced then as it is over the warmer months of the year, how then does your organization transition from the work being done with the bees to more of an advocacy or educational front during the winter and the early part of the spring?
Exactly. So this is our time to really get the word out of the importance of the bees, to do fun projects like this with Detroit City Distillery and other organizations. It's just a great opportunity for us to continue to get the word out, but we're just not doing some of our in-hive events because obviously the bees are in the winter months.
Again, more information can be found on the specialty product that will be released on November 11th. DetroitCityDistillery.com for more info, and DetroitCityDistillery.com/shop to get more information as well, and to buy the product on November 11th when it is released. You can also learn more about Bees in the D by going to their website, beesinthed.com, as well for information on educational info, their events throughout the city and the metro area, and how you can get involved with Bees in the D all throughout the year as well. beesinthed.com. Garrett, for you and your team, as we approach the release date on November 11th, what do you suggest for those that are itching to get some honey bourbon for themselves, certainly for some others that they're looking to gift some this holiday season, to make sure they get in line at the perfect time, because this sells out relatively quick?
It does sell out relatively quick, within a couple hours usually. So this year we are submitting a limited amount in grocery stores. So your local, you're in Southeast Michigan, go ahead and check, go ahead and ask, see how many they're getting. But I always suggest it's a fun activity to go ahead and order it online. Now it goes on sale at DetroitCityDistillery.com in the shop link at 8 a.m. I suggest waking up in the morning, getting a cup of coffee, hop on that computer at 7:30, and right when 8 a.m. hits, just keep clicking on that shop link, get it right there, and then come down and join us at 4 p.m. on November 11th. We're having a honey release party. It's great to come down to Eastern Market and experience that pickup full hand of the honey bourbon. We're going to have amazing honey cocktails, just like this one we made here, and it's a great experience. So hop on those computers first thing in the morning, November 11th by 8 a.m.
As Garrett said, 8 a.m. at DetroitCityDistillery.com/shop. And then, as he also mentioned, their release party, 4 p.m. November 11th at Eastern Market, 4 p.m. November 11th at Eastern Market. So mark your calendars as well, especially on that day of, while you're waiting for 8 a.m. to roll around. It's a great time to put that on your calendar, or do it now. Get ready for that release party at 4 p.m. at Eastern Market on November 11th. We're joined by brand ambassador Garrett Passiak from Detroit City Distillery, as well as the founder of Bees in the D, Brian Peterson, on today's edition of the Megacast. Again, you can shop for honey bourbon this season on November 11th at 8 a.m. for their release, and their other products as well at DetroitCityDistillery.com, and get involved with Bees in the D all throughout the year and learn more about the work that they do advocating for the bees, as well as producing great products right here in the state of Michigan at beesinthed.com. Brian, I do want to go back to you, because you mentioned early on in the interview that you have a hive on top of the facility at Detroit City Distillery, as well as many other locations throughout the Metro Detroit area. When did that idea really come into place to put these hives in urban areas as well as other areas in Metro Detroit? And how does that really work out? Are the bees happier? Do they work a little bit harder even in those urban areas? I would imagine it's pretty busy and loud, and that might affect them.
Yeah, so it came about actually right from the beginning of our concept of what we were doing in Detroit City Distillery was one of our first supporters. You know, bees are referred to as superorganisms. Well, I refer to Detroit City Distillery as a super supporter because they have supported us unbelievably with this product, with the bees up on the roof. And actually, bees do better in an urban environment because there actually is more diversity of plant life in the vacant lots. Because we do have bees in rural areas and in suburban areas, and our urban bees outperform the bees in our other areas. So it's pretty cool. And what I love about this too is it's Detroit takes care of Detroit. You know, DCD, as we call them, Detroit City Distillery, is taking care of bees in the D, but we're also helping to come up with some great products. And what's even better about this is at that event on the 11th, there's going to be others involved too. We're going to have Time and Honey here with a bourbon charcuterie board. We're going to have a Pingree products available, which is recycled leather. You can get some pretty cool coasters. So it's becoming bigger and bigger with more and more Detroit organizations. And that's what our two organizations are all about. Collaborations and working together in Detroit, taking care of Detroit.
Again, the release of the Detroit City Distillery and Bees in the D Honey Bourbon specialty product, 8 a.m. November 11th, DetroitCityDistillery.com/shop. Their release party at Eastern Market, 4 p.m. Same day, November 11th, 4 p.m. at Eastern Market for a whole lot of more fun and interaction with both Bees in the D and Detroit City Distillery. You can follow both of these organizations on social media. Instagram for Detroit City Distillery is at Detroit City Distillery. Twitter at Detroit City DIST. Bees in the D. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook at Bees in the D. Garrett, Brian, thank you both so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.